Good morning, everyone. I am Dr. Saptarshi Banerjee. I am the 5th generation homeopath of a distinguished family of homeopathy. I'd like to share with you today the different varieties of cough sounds. Now, my granddad used to say that you don't have to ask the patient when you get a cough. You have to hear him and prescribe. And that's what I want to share with you, that hear the patient, what he is coughing, and prescribe on the basis of that. I've inherited this treasure from my ancestors, and today I'd like to present to you the different varieties of cough sounds which patients present to us. Now, the first variety of cough sound which I'd like to share with you is the cough of iriodiction. In iriodiction, you have a very wheezy type of a cough. So, and they bring out the expectoration. So, in iriodiction, the wheeze is relieved by expectoration. So, I'll repeat again. Better by expectoration. Similar type of wheeze you'll find antimars, Antimonium arsenicosum, where you have the wheeze and especially suitable for old age. Where it's very old age and there's a lot of wheeze and there's a lot of mucus. Why mucus? Because you have the antime component in that. So these two are your top medicines for a wheezy cough. Whenever you hear that sound of wheeze, do think of these top two medicines, iriodiction or yerba santa and Antimonium arsenicosum. The next variety of cough is what we call the machine gun cough, or cough which follows each other very rapidly. And that is, my friends, the cough of Corallium rubrum. You see, the paroxysms are following each other so much. That's the cough of Corallium rubrum. There's so much paroxysm that the patient can hardly take a breath. That is Corallium rubrum. The next cough, my friends, is the cough of Drosera, where you have the similar type of paroxysmal cough, but it's more on lying down. But there is a tickling in the larynx along with that cough, and it is worse on lying down. So Corallium and Drosera both have got that paroxysmal cough, but the violence is more of Corallium. So you can hear the violence in Corallium. The next cough is a more milder cough, and that is the cough of Rheumex, where you have a tickling in the larynx, and that precedes the cough, or that accompanies the cough. So that's a tickling in the larynx, and that's constantly associated with the cough. So that's a constant tickling. And my friends, Rheumex will always cover their necks with the scarf because they're very sensitive to cold air. So that's the cough of your Rheumex. Now I'd like to share with you a very interesting cough, which is a barking cough, which you find in Sambucus and Hippersalve. So that's, you see, the barking nature of the cough, and that you have in Hipper and Sambucus. How to differentiate? Hipper will have a lot of covering because he's very chilly, whereas Sambucus has a lot of sweating with the cough because perspiration accompanies all the ailments of Sambucus. So see, in an acute cough, just on the basis of one or two symptoms, you can differentiate. When you hear that, that's the typical barking cough of these two medicines. My next cough is the cough of spongia. And spongia, remember my friends, is a very dry cough. So the cough of spongia is like a saw being driven through a pine board. So the sound which you get when a saw is driven through a pine board, it's absolutely devoid of any moisture. So it's absolutely dry. And the hush, 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 hush. That sound is typical of your spongia. And remember, for spongia, the cough is always better by warm drinks. So modality is very important to differentiate it.